it is time. It's been like a month since I finished Aspen's route. So we're going back for Juliet. Oh, and there goes my bot. Park. Ba, ba, ba. But yeah, we're going back for Juliet's route.
Shall we pick up where we left off?
The question is, should we start? Like, we just skip through the thing, or? I got that. We got, this is chapter 3, just from where this his route we're going down. You know what, I'll go to... Oh, we'll just start from chapter 3. In the morning, once I go downstairs for breakfast, it's presently familiar. Toast, eggs, and fruit like always, and conversations about books and work in Wellington. Out of cleaning up, but before Aspen departs, Juliet clears her throat.
By the way, Aspen, I do believe this weekend is a special occasion. Am I correct?
I had been trying to ignore that until now, but yes.
Wait, what? What happens this weekend?
This Friday is my birthday. A brutal reminder that, like we just discussed, time won't wait for me.
Whoa! Humans have parties for that, right? Are you gonna have a party?
No, I'm not turning 12.
When was the decision? Let me check. Ah shit, is this scene? Shouldn't have skipped it. Just making sure we're gonna sit there for a few minutes.
I had been...
Wait,
Blah, blah, blah,
this
where were
Friday
we?
is...
whoa!
No,
Here.
How old are you turning?
not 12.
I thought parties were a thing you got to do your whole life. That's not fair that only 12-year-olds get to have them.
It's not like that. They're just one of those things that you grow out of.
Why?
Why what?
Why do you grow out of them?
My bro gets more creases, like she's trying to explain this to herself as much as me.
It's just part of being an adult. You get older and older and you reach the real world and then you don't feel like having a party, I suppose. When you're young, it's exciting getting older because there's so much you can't do as a child. Once you're an adult, you realize that what you thought adult life would be like isn't real. So instead of being excited that there's cake and ice cream, you start worrying about how many calories are in each.
What's a calorie?
Never mind.
You know, Miho has a point.
She does?
I do!
You're never too old to have fun, as you both went out of your way to remind me. 25 can be just as much a reason to celebrate as 5.
Just doxing Aspen's age.
I suppose you're right. For the record, I'm only turning 24. Thank you very much.
Never mentioned it herself.
Still, I'm not the partying type. Plus, I told my parents I'd go visit them this weekend.
Yeah, shit, because if you go and ask for Aspen's route, you go for her to the bus stop and she asks you out before she leaves.
Just for a day, mind. I'll be back well before 24 hours have passed.
I'm just off to worry about the forgetting stuff. Because we haven't figured out all this shit.
That's wonderful. I'm sure they'll be overjoyed to see you.
I'm sure they will be, at least for a little while. I still wouldn't want to stay for more than a weekend, even without Miho to keep in mind. Longer than that, and my mum and I would probably go crazy. I'm not leaving Welly until late Saturday evening, though. Would you mind going with me to the bus stop on that day, Miho? Just to be extra safe.
Yeah, of course.
Even without a party, would you let us treat you to dinner on Friday evening? We can go wherever you like.
That would be nice, thank you. No gifts, though. It won't be a party.
That's easy, because they wouldn't know what to get you anyway. Where do you want to go?
I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you two know. Maybe you can come over on Friday evening, and we'll go from there.
Come over? Where?
To my apartment? I do have my own place to live, you know. And, well, it isn't anything special. but I felt I should at least let you two see it. Only if you want to.
Of course I want to!
I mean it, it's the definition of average. I'm not even sure if it can fit 3 people.
I lived in a dirt hole for most of my life. I can handle anything.
Miho was a little easily impressed.
Good point. You'll feel right at home then.
I'd love to come visit as well. Thank you for the invitation.
Cause... Fuck off. I don't need no bot shit. Alright, where were we?
Great. I'll clean up and make sure the cats are on their best behavior. It's been quite a while since we've had company.
I can't wait!
3 of us chit-chat for a bit longer until it's time for us all to split up for the day.
Miho, do you have any plans for the day?
Not yet. Why?
I was planning to go see a movie soon. Would you like to come with me? You're more than welcome too, of course, Juliet, but I imagine it's rather late for you.
Unfortunately so. I'll be up a while longer, but I wouldn't be able to make it through an entire movie. I hope that you enjoy it, though.
I understand. Miho, it's fine if you don't want to come along, but the showing starts in an hour, so we'd need to leave soon. I prefer to get there before it's crowded.
Hmm.
We're very much Juliet, let's go.
I'm not really in the mood for a movie today, I think. Sorry, Aspen.
It's fine. Maybe another time.
Yeah, definitely.
Aspen gathers her things and departs while Juliet remains in the kitchen with me.
So, you're not gonna go to sleep yet? It's the time you usually do, right?
It is, yes. As I said, I won't be up too much longer, but I have a few tasks that I'd like to finish up.
Like what? Anything I can help with?
Looking around the library, I don't really see anything that needs to be done.
I'm afraid not, although I appreciate it. It's for my research services. You're welcome to keep me company, though, if you'd like.
Sure! I forget you do that sometimes.
I tend to work on it at night, after you've gone to sleep. Come, let's head to my study.
I follow her up the stairs into her office. She sits down at the desk and opens her laptop, while also moving a stack of books and papers closer to her. I walk around the room a little, examining the shelves. There aren't any baths in the corner today.
I never noticed how many books there are in here.
It's a library, Miho. Although the library shelves downstairs are full, it seems like there must be just as many books in here, maybe even more. Some shelves even have more than one row of them, with stacks built in front of the stacks.
Ah, yes. Some of them are old and fragile and not suited to be handled by so many people. Others travel between the shelves down there and appear as I need them. Some aren't books per se, but essays or diaries or treaties.
But also got treaties up here, just casual, all casual like. Picking a book at random, I carefully remove it from the shelf and examine it. I'm able to read the sole word on the cover, journal. When I open it, it's full of handwritten pages. I return it to its place.
And you've read all of these?
Heavens no. I don't think even I've been alive long enough for that. I've read some, of course. Others I've only skimmed through as needed. Still, others were entrusted to me for safekeeping, rather than for their academic or entertainment value.
I take a seat in the chair across from her.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It can be. There have been fewer requests as of late, but I'm honored to be entrusted with them. Whether it's a family photo album or a handwritten novel, many people have memories and legacies that they'd like to preserve, but may not have the means to do so. So I hold on to them here, and over time, generations even, they are sometimes remembered and asked about, or even taken back. either by the person who first brought them, or by a family member seeking to learn more about an ancestor. There are hundreds of years of history in this room, and I'm not just talking about you and me.
It takes me a second to laugh. I'm not used to Juliet making jokes.
So, what exactly is it you do?
Come here, I'll show you.
She gestures me to join her beside the desk, turning a computer screen so that I can see it. There's a photo of a fabled person with antlers like a deer.
This gentleman passed away several decades ago. Recently, I was contacted by one of his grandchildren, who was still young when it happened. He said that his grandfather once made it into one of the Wellington newspapers, and was hoping I could find the article.
Did you?
See for yourself.
She gestures to a folded newspaper lying in a stack of papers nearby. It was soul that began to turn yellow, and the edges are all frayed. But sure enough, there's a grainy black and white photo of the fabled man, although he's way younger in this photo.
He had taken first prize in a singing competition at a local fair, and his picture was featured along with a summary of the event.
Look a bit closer. It's hard to tell, but he's smiling in the photo next to a trophy.
Whoa. I can't believe you were able to find this.
I hear that rather frequently, and it's rewarding every time. In this case, I've already scanned the article and sent it to the grandson, so now I just need to return this paper to its proper place.
I walk back around to the other side of the desk and sit down.
This one was on the simpler side, because all I had to do was peruse newspapers from that time. More complex requests that require consulting multiple sources can take me much longer.
Jeez, I had no idea. They must pay you a lot, right?
No, I don't ask for any payment. The work itself is a reward in its own right. I find it fascinating to revisit so many different pasts.
Jesus, Juliet. God's sake. It's like... She's just way too nice. You know? So she's like... She's just like... so nice, constantly. Like, get angry or something, girl, please. You're making the rest of us look bad. It's probably why I didn't go for the first. Because, like, Aspen's clearly way more of a mess than she is. I find she's more human, I guess. Juliet's just like... I don't know, she's weird. She's like weirdly nice and virtuous and stuff. I'm sure we'll find out about her dark past or something. But we shall see. I just adore the game, so I want to see what the other route's like.
That sounds like Aspen talking about books. Visiting other worlds.
Yes, it's quite similar. Although Aspen much prefers fiction and novels to this sort of thing.
Maybe someday you can have a copy of her book in here too.
Yes, I hope so. Although it would deserve to be downstairs where it can be freely enjoyed by all.
That'd be nice. I hope lots of people read it when it comes out.
Wonder if she is gonna publish her novel in this round. Juliet smells an agreement and begins to open up books and lay out documents. I get up and browse around some more, examining the shelves. She said I could keep her company, but watching the way she's reading so intently, going from source to source, I know I'd just be distracting her if I try. Eventually I try to quietly slip to the door, but Juliet notices me.
Oh, are you leaving? I'm sorry, I haven't been a very good host.
It's fine. I can tell you're really busy. Thanks for showing me everything, though.
Of course. Thank you for joining me.
God's sake, they're so cute.
Anytime. You're gonna go to bed after this, right? So, I'll see you later then.
That's right. Have a great day, Miho.
You too. Good night and good luck with your work.
Maybe goodbye, I step out into the hall once more. I step out into the hallway alone. Shit, I guess it doesn't matter where we go. Mount Victoria. Must be some kind of dog marathon happening soon. Because a ton of people are walking their dogs up the mountain today. In this forum, dogs don't usually bother me, but for some reason, almost every dog I walk past today tries to stop their owner to sniff at me. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't making me kind of nervous. I do my best to ignore them and continue on my way, but after the 10th or so dog tries to physically drag its owner over to me, I'm starting to get weirded out. Did someone put a sniff me sign on my back or something? While testing around, checking to see if something strange was stuck to me, I remembered something in my jacket pocket. Right, I snatched a bunch of beef jerky this morning. How could I forget? A little hiking gift from past Miho to current Miho. Thanks for the snack. Under the waterfront, I guess. The fish market is in full force right now. Rows and rows of displays tidily showing off fresh caught fish, which lines of people twisting all around the market, waiting to purchase the goods. As I walk through the crowds and the dead eyes of hundreds of fish seem to pierce my soul. Don't get me wrong, I'm not squeamish about raw fish in the slightest. I mean, I've caught and eaten plenty of fish as a fox before. But isn't there something at least a little morbid about lining up their little bodies for everyone to ogle? If it were me, I'd just eat them right after catching them. That's when they're best and seems most respectful to the fish. I guess that's for their merchants and not me. Oh yeah, let's go Aspen's house. Later in the evening, Aspen sends a message to Juliet to let her know that she's ready for us to come over, and two of us walk down to the address she gave me. Juliet leads the way, of course, since I don't know many of the streets by name. I eventually arrive at the unremarkable looking apartment building. It's a few stories tall and without decorations out front.
This is the place. I believe she's on the ground floor.
Not too far away, one of the doors swings open and Aspen pokes her head out to wave us over.
Miho, Juliet, over here.
Aspen!
She holds the door open with one hand while pushing something away with her feet.
No, stay back, you two.
I freeze halfway to where she is.
What's wrong?
I said, no, not you, Miho. I'm talking to the cats.
Aspen and Juliet is first to come inside while keeping an eye on the floor. Juliet and I hurry in and Aspen shuts the door behind us.
Well, ta-da! Or something.
Whoa!
The entire place is just one room except for a small bathroom. Right across from the door is a tiny kitchen area, fridge, stove, and microwave. Everything else is basically a bedroom. The dresser and a small desk with a computer, and Aspen's bed itself. Some luggage and boxes are scattered around, which I'm guessing were part of Aspen's cleanup.
I hope that was the good kind of woe.
It's lovely, Aspen. I adore the fairy lights and plants. They make it feel very welcoming. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks. It was a good whoa, don't worry.
I didn't really have any expectations, but I'm still kind of surprised by how small it is. I figured she'd been exaggerating that part at least a little bit. The decorations make it feel fitting for Aspen though. Two pairs of green eyes peek at us from around the corner, and both cats go dashing under the bed as we step further in.
Sorry there's not more space to sit down. You can see why I don't have company over very often. You can sit on the bed if you'd like. Or the computer chair.
Oh, it's fine. I'm okay on the floor.
Miho based for real. God, those serious fucking brainworms, huh? That's how I'm talking these days. Like a parody of a Twitter user. I take a seat with my back against the dresser while Juliet sits down on the bed as invited. Aspen ends up taking the sole chair for herself. Almost as soon as I sit down, I spring back up, remembering the occasion.
Oh yeah! Happy birthday!
Yes, happy birthday, Aspen. Here's to another wonderful year.
Thank you. This year has been pretty good, I must say.
Narrowing my eyes, I inspect Aspen, who notices and frowns at me.
Can I help you?
You don't look any older.
I'm glad to hear that. It doesn't just happen overnight on your birthday, though. Not that you would be aware of that, I suppose. Anyway, enough about that. Are you too hungry? We've already done everything there is to do here, I believe.
You all sat down. That's the extent of Aspen's. It's the extent of what there is to do at Aspen's, apparently.
Now you understand why I never have people over.
It's fine. I don't mind just sitting around. But yeah, I'm always ready to eat.
Have you decided where you want to go?
I think so. There's a seafood restaurant that isn't too far away that I enjoy, but don't go to very often. Does that work for both of you?
I'm okay with anything. I just like food.
Miho just like me for real.
Indeed. It's your birthday, so we'll have whatever you want.
All right. Let's get going then.
The restaurant's about a walk from Aspen's apartment, but it's a nice day, so I don't mind. We end up at a pier not too far from the museum I visited. It's not a very big place, but it's bigger than the Bell House. Half of it juts out over the ocean itself. We get seated right away at a long table of metal stools.
It sure smells fishy.
It's supposed to. That means it's fresh.
Our waiter brings 3 menus, setting one in front of each of us, and promises to come back to take our order soon. Aspen and Juliet both pick up their menu and start to flip through, so I do the same.
Let me know if you need help reading anything, Miho.
Thanks.
Fortunately, there are plenty of pictures. That house could learn a thing or two from here. I'm even able to read some of the words, like fish and corn, the others that I don't recognize at all.
What do you usually get here, Aspen?
Well, they're most well known for their crab, although it's very messy. And expensive, so I've never had it. I usually get the clam chowder, or fish and chips, if I want to hate myself later.
Oh. What's chowder?
It's like a thick soup.
Oh. Isn't it hard to eat clams? I've tried before, but I couldn't get past the shells.
They do that for you. No shells involved.
Whoa! That's nice of them.
I'm sure they'd be glad to hear that. Is there something you usually order when you go out to eat?
Oh, I've never been to a restaurant before. Unless you count the Bell House. Well, not as a paying customer, at least. But I know how they work because I've seen them on TV.
I hope you enjoy your first time then.
I will.
Both of you, feel free to order whatever you'd like. Don't worry about the price.
Don't worry, I wasn't.
A nearby door swings open, and for a second I can see into the kitchen as another waiter comes out carrying a big bucket, and a row of spiny claws and legs poke out of it.
Wait. Is that...
Take the bucket to another table and set it down along a big pile of napkins.
The crab? Yes.
I watch intently, curious to see how these people go about getting past the shells.
You shouldn't stare, you know.
I ignore her. I have to know. To grab some utensils that I've never seen before and use those to crack the shells, I watch fascinated while they do. Turning back to Juliet and Aspen, I've made up my mind.
I want that!
Plans were too hard, but I used to love eating crab, so it's been a long, long time since I've had it though.
It would be nice to try at least once.
Sounds like it's settled then.
Our waiter shows back up, a few glasses of water in hand, and Juliet orders for all of us. Waiter takes the menu back, saying our food should be out before too long. I sip my water and look around, enjoying the new experience.
Have you ever been here before, Juliet?
I haven't. As I'm sure you know, I don't go out to eat very often. I've been to similar restaurants before, though.
You went to the Bell House back when it first opened, didn't you? I seem to recall you telling me that once.
I did, yes. I can still remember what I had. A chai latte with a blueberry scone.
Were you working there yet?
Oh no, it was a few years before I came to Welly. Although, Regina, my boss, wants to expand. There's going to be a second location opening in a couple months. She asked me if I would consider being store manager.
Oh, congratulations! That's quite the honor.
You'd get to run the whole place?
I would still be working for her, but otherwise, yes. I haven't decided if I want to do it or not, though. It would be a lot more work and responsibility, obviously. It would take up much more of my time, too. I'm not sure if I want to put myself through that.
That's understandable. I do think you'd be well suited for it, though.
Yeah, you already do a lot at the other Bell House.
Thanks. Yes, it is tempting. I told her I'll think about it and give her an answer by the end of next month. The building it'll be in is already a coffee shop, so it won't take too long to convert. It all depends on some other things, really.
Like what?
Well, for one, I'd been thinking about keeping this a secret until I hear back, but I finally finished a draft of my manuscript.
Woo!
I sent it off to a few publishers to see what they think.
Oh, congratulations, Aspen. That's a stunning achievement.
Yeah! What are you gonna do with all your free time now?
Thank you. That's a good question. I'm sure I'll spend plenty of it worrying. Other than that, I will need to find some new ways to fill my day. If all goes well, then I won't have time to help out at the new store. I'm getting rather ahead of myself, though. It's only been a little over a week since I submitted it.
Oh. I hope it works out for you.
Me too.
We sit and talk about the usual stuff for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, before our waiter comes out of the kitchen, carrying a giant bucket, like the one we saw earlier. Aspen and I both gasp and awe as they place it on the table before us with a flourish, giving us a stack of napkins and tools like the other group.
Well, let's not just stare. Dig in!
I don't even know where to start.
I grab one of the pieces closest to me. It's hot, so hot that I drop it on my plate. Aspen does the same thing with a yelp of pain. Juliet, on the other hand, seems totally unbothered as she calmly claims a portion for herself. Leaning in closer, I blow on my food to try and cool it down. While I do, I watch Juliet to observe how she does it. She smells as she notices me watching, and in her hands to give me a better view, she uses the tool to crack the shell and get the meat. Aspen seems to know what she's doing too. Once it's cool enough for her to handle, now I just need to give it a try. Try to mimic the way I saw Juliet do it, and after a moment of squeezing really hard, it finally worked.
That was a lot easier than trying to use my own claws.
I should hope so.
I fell onto my fork and take a big bite, finally getting to enjoy my prize. I feel my eyes go wide of how good it is.
Enjoying it?
Yeah!
I quickly finished the piece I was eating and then rushed to grab another one. It's a lot easier to crack now that I know what I'm doing. For a while, the only sound coming from our table are those of us enjoying our food and the occasional sip of water. Where our waiter comes by to give us refills, they look a little shocked at how much we've already gone through. When the bucket is finally empty and I sadly toss the shell of my last piece into the waste bin, Juliet seems to pick up on it.
Are you still hungry, Miho?
Hungry? No. Do I want to eat more? Yes. That was delicious.
Juliet glances at Aspen, who shrugs.
I could eat more.
Next time the waiter passes by, Juliet flags him down with a smile.
Could we get a second order of this, please?
It feels like it may as well be my birthday instead of Juliet's. By the time we get for the second bucket, even I can't eat anymore. We leave the restaurant in a bit of a daze.
I don't know if I've ever been this full in my life.
Me too. I think I'm set on crab for a long time now. Thanks for dinner though, Juliet. It was wonderful.
Of course. It was my pleasure. I hope you've had a nice birthday.
I certainly have. Now if I can make it back home, I'll call it a success. I feel like I've put on several kilos just from that meal.
Would you like me to call you a taxi?
No, it's fine. Walking some of this off will be good for me. I still have to pack and get ready for tomorrow.
I suppose Miho and I will head home as well then. Does that sound okay, Miho?
Yeah, let's just walk slow.
Stella managed a weak wave.
Bye, Aspen. Happy birthday again.
Thank you again. Good night to you both. I'll see you two tomorrow.
Aspen trudges off, but Juliet somehow seems unfazed.
Shall we be off?
Taking a deep breath, I steel myself for the long walk home.
Yeah, let's go.
Afternoon of Juliet's departure, she seems unusually quiet. But she showed up to breakfast like normal. She barely says a word throughout the whole meal, other than things like yes please and no thanks. The way she keeps checking her phone and messing with her face and clothes, I can tell something must be on her mind. I think she's just antsy about the trip. Hold on, is she still gonna... Hold on. Blah, blah. Where to play for this stuff? Ah shit, she still does ask her out when she leaves. Right, I guess we gotta just reject Aspen, which I feel really bad about. Okay, I don't think I can do it.
I don't think I can do it. I like Aspen, and I don't want to hurt her. But she's a human, and I just don't think I can do that to myself.
The words are heavy and hard to say, but it's a relief to say them. Juliet reaches her hand across the table and places it over mine.
I understand. I'm sure Aspen will too.
You don't think she'll be mad at me, do you? Or upset? She said she wouldn't, but...
Baby.
Oh, heavens no. I'm sure she'll be sad. It would be wrong of me to tell you otherwise. But I also know that she wouldn't want it to affect the relationship you do have. I'm sure she's prepared herself for this possibility and made her peace with it. The only way I can see her regretting her actions is if they somehow sullied your friendship.
No, no way! At least, I hope not. I don't like her any less. I just can't like her more than I already do. Not in the way she does.
I know what you mean. The heart wants what it wants. To try and go against our own feelings is folly. We only end up creating pain for ourselves and others. That's why Aspen chose to share her feelings with you, even knowing they may not be returned. And why it's important to be honest with yourself, even about the things that may be difficult, as you've reminded me time and again.
I feel Juliet's hand slide off mine as she stands and walks to the window, opening the blinds. Outside, it's that in-between time of evening, where the sun has already set, but the sky hasn't become totally dark yet. Although Juliet has no reflection, I can see myself in the window watching her. I wonder if she notices too. My hand tingles where hers covered it just a moment ago.
Have you ever been in love before?
She turning to face me. Juliet has an expression I can't read before replacing it with a fond smile.
There were several times that I thought I was, but later realized otherwise. All of them were before Cassette was born, when I was much more... wild.
Let's go, Juliet Lower.
I mistook the desires of the body and mind for the desires of the heart. What I had thought was love was really just an attempt to fill something missing, to fool myself into believing it was real. Raising Cassette forced me to be honest with myself for the first time in ages. Perhaps ever. I had never truly cared about anyone other than myself. I just didn't know it until then. For her entire life, I devoted my heart to Cosette, ensuring she had all the genuine love and support that she needed and deserved. Even when she grew up and moved out of our home together, not a day or even an hour went by that she wasn't in my thoughts. Since she passed away, I haven't allowed myself to grow close to anyone else. I couldn't ever again settle for a relationship that I didn't feel with my whole heart.
Her eyes meet mine, lingering for a moment before Juliet turns her attention back to her teacup, taking a sip. She closes her eyes and sighs with contentment.
I've made do with smaller pleasures. Hot tea, a good book, the company of friends. It's been enough, ever since then.
I know what you mean. I've only had smaller pleasures too.
Much like Juliet, it never occurred to me to want more, or one place to sleep in a meal that I didn't scavenge for more than luxuries. For a long, long time, I've been satisfied with what little I had and couldn't hope for anything else. So I thought. I swirl around my cup of hot chocolate, which isn't quite so hot anymore. I don't know how Juliet makes it, but I know it doesn't just come from mixing some water and powder. People who make hot chocolate with water concern me. Milk is just a superior liquid to mix it into. It's something she makes specially every time, just because she knows I like it. Has anyone ever done something like that for me? Not that I can remember.
Not looking forward to telling Aspen tomorrow.
I know. I'm sure it can't be easy.
Like always, she handles my abrupt topic change without comment.
All I can suggest is to speak from your heart, just like she did. Though it may take her a while, in time, I know that she'll be okay. The best thing you could do is to treat her normally, as if nothing has changed between the two of you.
Right. She's still Aspen.
Exactly. And you're still friends. Nothing can take that away.
I nod, feeling a little better. Juliet and I chat a bit more before eventually I excuse myself and head out to my room for the night. Before I get into bed, I already know it's going to be one of those nights where I toss and turn for hours before being able to pass out. No matter what, I'm not looking forward to letting Aspen down tomorrow. All I can do is hope she understands. Like Juliet said, even if it's not what she wants to hear. I'll make sure to not let it change anything between us. Neither of us would want that. Sure enough, it takes a while, but eventually my restlessness turns into exhaustion, and I slip into a fretful sleep. Morning comes all too soon. Groggily opening my eyes, I check the time and see that I've slept in about as late as I can. I spend a while trying to fall back asleep, but fail and eventually get up. There are only a couple hours until Aspen will be back. I'm sure she'll get back into her apartment first. She'll get back to her apartment first after she arrives, but she'll have to come into the library not long after so that we can see each other before the day is past. Once she's here, I don't see a way to put off talking about that. It'll be better for both of us just to get it over with, I'm sure.
Alright, Miho. You can do this.
Staring into the bathroom mirror, I try to believe myself. I know that Juliet said what Juliet said is all true, but our friendship not having to change or there being any bad feelings, I'm just not looking forward to telling Aspen in the first place. It won't be the first time I've hurt Aspen somehow, but it's the first time I've planned it out in advance and known that it's going to happen. Still, I know that fixation on it and dreading it will just make it feel worse. After moping around for a bit longer, I head down to the kitchen.
Good morning, Miho.
Morning!
As Juliet seems to be in a good mood, I try to make myself sound chipper too. Even though it's just the two of us today, Juliet works as hard as always on breakfast. There's the usual assortment of fruit, eggs, and toast all laid out on the table.
Thanks for the food!
Of course. Do dig in.
Don't mind if I do.
I eat my meal with as much gusto as I can. Although I'm much slower than usual, Juliet went through all the effort of preparing everything, so I don't want it to let it go. Don't want to let it go to waste. Eventually, I have to admit defeat and set down my fork with a lot of food unfinished.
Everything okay?
Yeah, it's all great. I'm just not super hungry right now.
Oh, yes. Understandable. I'm sorry, I should have asked before preparing so much.
Nah, it's fine. Thanks for cooking. I'm sorry I can't eat more of it.
Don't worry. As long as you enjoyed it, I certainly can't complain.
I sure did. It doesn't look like you're all that hungry either, though.
Me? What makes you say that?
I pointed the half-eaten bread on her plate.
You had even less than I did.
Juliet looks down as if surprised to see what's there.
Well, I suppose you're right. To tell you the truth, most food tastes the same to me, essentially flavorless. I enjoy the ceremony of sharing a meal with friends much more than the meal itself.
Does Juliet even need to eat?
You can't taste anything? Why not?
It's another one of the downsides of vampirism. I can still eat and drink if I want to, but I don't need to.
Oh, there's our answer.
Even tea?
Even tea, to an extent. Although I can't enjoy the flavor, I do still enjoy its aroma. And that was one of my favorite parts about tea, even as a human.
There. Wait, she wasn't born a vampire? That doesn't make sense. I don't know what the vampire rules in this universe are.
Whoa. You're really good at cooking for not being able to try it.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Cosette was often my taste tester. Once I found a way of preparing something she enjoyed, it was simply a matter of committing the recipe to memory.
She definitely had good taste then. I can't imagine not being able to enjoy food. It used to be one of the only things I enjoyed.
It is quite unfortunate. Had I known what it would be like before I turned, I would have made more of an effort to sample cuisine from around the world while I could.
Were there other things that were different for you then?
Oh, yes. Almost everything. Those faculties that I do retain, such as my eyesight and hearing, are far keener than they were as a human. To say nothing of the ability to transform. I suppose it must be like that for you as well, compared to your days as a fox.
Yeah, that's true. But I can always turn back into a fox when I want to.
You are quite fortunate in that regard. Taking wing as a bat can be exhilarating, but it's not... familiar.
She can turn into a bat? We're getting all sorts of Juliet lore today.
Do you like being a vampire? Would you go back to being a human if you could?
That's a difficult question to answer. Even if I were to somehow revert to normal humanity right now, I wouldn't be the same person I was before I became a vampire. That was a lifetime ago. Several, in fact. Who I am now isn't even who I was when I first changed. I appreciate the many chances that I've had to learn and grow. Without the gift of immortality, that wouldn't have happened. Nor would I have met any of the people whom I care about most. You, Cosette, Aspen. I'd have died centuries too early for our paths to ever cross. Naturally, I wouldn't trade that for the world, for anything. But I confess that I do miss the simplicity of human life. The very things that Aspen fears most are some of what I most regret leaving behind. A temporary existence pushes you to achieve all that you can within the time given to you. Your triumphs and victories are sweeter, just as tragedy may be deeper, for their impermanent finality. I suppose I would have to say that it's equal parts blessing and curse. Presented with a choice to somehow go back and stop myself from being turned, I would decline. There are truths that can only be learned with experience and age. So, in that sense, perhaps it would be futile, even if it were possible.
With a sigh, she gives me a sheepish smile.
That was rather long-winded of me, wasn't it? To answer your question more directly, no, I wouldn't go back. There's a part of me that will always want to, though.
I get it. Sounds like there are even more differences between Fable like us and humans than I thought.
In some ways, yes.
Nodding, I idly pushed some of the leftover food on my plate with a fork. I went cold a long time ago.
Thanks for saying all that. It makes me feel better about... you know, like I'm making the right decision.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad that I could be of some help.
I wish I could delay having the conversation with Aspen, but there's only a couple more hours until I have to see her anyway. It takes long enough for her to not forget me. I took a late bus there and an early bus back just for that. Meaning her visit with her family hardly lasted any time at all. I feel a twinge of guilt. Aspen basically had to plan her life around seeing me, even though there's nothing I can do about that. Rising to my feet, I gather up both my dishes and Juliet's and take them to the sink, dumping the leftovers into the trash in my way.
Thank you, Miho.
No problem. Are you going to bed?
Indeed. Unless you'd prefer for me to wait with you.
I wouldn't mind, but it's okay. You don't have to stay up for my sake. I'm probably just going to watch TV or something until she gets here.
All right, if you're sure. As always, you're welcome to wake me should the need arise.
If you're actually asleep next time. You were already awake when I knocked yesterday.
True. Although that was something of an anomaly. Still, whether I'm awake or not, don't hesitate if you need anything.
Will do. Night!
Have a good day, Miho. I'll see you this evening.
I finish clearing up as Juliet heads to her room. After wiping my hands dry, I flick off the light and go to my own room. The TV crackles to life when I switch it on, and I take my usual spot on the floor with my back against the bed. Flipping from channel to channel, I look for a cartoon or something that I can watch without having to think too hard about it. Preferably something without a romantic subplot, as hard as that is to find. It's not that I mind those most of the time, but right now I'm not in the mood. I end up settling for an animated movie about a girl who can turn into a seal, her brother's quest to rescue her. Well, that's a reference to something, but I have no idea what. As I'd hoped, watching shows does take my mind off things. It also makes time pass by way too fast. At some point, when I check the clock, I see that it's almost time for Aspen's bus to arrive. The stomach cramping feeling of anxiety starts to kick in, and I take some deep breaths and drink a glass of water to stifle it.
It's no big deal, you dummy. You're just making this worse for yourself. She'll be sad, but she'll get over it.
Around the time that the bus should be pulling into the station, I go downstairs to wait. I do wonder if her bus is going to be late in this route. Probably not. Maybe. My practice books for reading and writing are tucked away in the front desk, where I retrieve them and sit down. My eyes go over the same lines a dozen times without really processing what I'm saying. It's frustrating because it's not like my thoughts are occupied with something more important. Instead, it's like there's an alarm bell ringing in my head, an unhelpful reminder that I'm not looking forward to what's going to happen without contributing anything useful. I grit my teeth and try to power through it, forcing my eyes and hands to cooperate. I manage to slowly make my way through the worksheet in front of me, but not without glancing at the front door every couple minutes. When I'm finished, I'm not sure I actually got anything out of it. Every minute that ticks by, I get a little antsier. I wait, and wait, and wait. 45 minutes after our bus should have arrived, I get up and pour myself another glass of water just to do something.
She sure is taking her time.
She'd probably be more patient. It's a long walk from our apartment to here, and she probably wanted to freshen up along the wall after the long ride. Sighing, I take my seat, spinning circles in the chair. A minute later, I stand up again and pace around, browsing the books on the library shelves as if I'm interested in them. Before I know it, an hour has passed since I came downstairs, since Aspen got back to Wellington. I head back to the desk and pull out another writing worksheet. A couple of weeks of practice behind me by now, I can write almost all the letters from memory, just not very legibly. It takes all my concentration, but when I get to the end of this one, I'm pretty proud of the result. Somehow it took me almost 50 minutes to get through both sides. That explains why my hands are so sore. But doesn't explain why Aspen's still not here.
Maybe I should go find her.
She'll probably be following the same path we took to get to the station yesterday. It goes right by our home after all. It's fairly early. It's early enough that if I hurry, we can get to the station and back with time to spare, in case she does take a different route to get to the library when I'm gone. Plus, I could write her a note. I got one of the pads of sticky notes that Juliet keeps at the desk, gripping my pencil so tightly that it hurts. But I need to be as precise as I can, or even Aspen won't be able to read it. Aspen, went to station and your house. Take route you showed me. We'll come back here. It's not the best, but it should work. I wish I was calm enough to be proud. Instead, I just grab a piece of tape and stick the note to the front door as I hurry out. Moving at a brisk pace, I scan both sides of every street I go and check every window and open door I can to make sure I don't miss her. Yeah, the bus is definitely still late in this route. I make it to Aspen's apartment and knock loudly, rocking on my heels while I wait. The door never opens. I try to peek in her windows, but the blinds are shut and curtains are drawn. Still doesn't look there are many lights on inside. My worries start to mount into panic. It's possible she already came home, dropped her bag and turned the lights off and left. But then why didn't I pass her on the way? Just to be sure, I hurry the rest of the short trip to the station, but don't see any trace of Aspen. Flat out running instead of jogging, I rush back the way I came, but instead of staying on that one route, I also try side streets, sweeping back and forth between main path and the others. None of them have her, and I reach the library breathless and alone, my note still where I left it. I push the door open, against hope that she'll be waiting for me inside. She isn't, but Juliet is there, standing behind the front desk.
Oh, Miho. I was wondering where you'd gone. I saw these sheets that you left out.
Aspen still isn't back yet!
I can't hold back from blurting out the bad news. There's no time to waste. Juliet's eyes instantly go wide with alarm, and her mouth drops open in shock for a brief second until she composes herself.
I see. Wait here. I'll try to call her.
While she rushes off, I push the door back open and scan the horizon, looking for the glint of Aspen's glasses in the sun, or her hat bouncing while she walks. Nothing. Juliet returns the phone in her hand, where it looks weirdly out of place. She calls Aspen and then puts on a speaker, and we both wait with bated breath.
Hello, you've reached Aspen. If you're a publishing agent or editor, then please...
Juliet cuts off the voicemail message just like I cut her off a moment ago.
I didn't even hear it ring!
It didn't. That means that for whatever reason, she can't receive calls right now.
Whatever reason? Like what?
Most likely, her phone is dead. Or she's somewhere without reception.
I see Juliet's face fall as we both make the same connection.
Yesterday, before we left here.
Yes. She mentioned that she wouldn't have it for most of the journey. But she should have been back in Wellington a long time ago, correct?
Yeah, at least 2 hours ago.
How much longer do you have left?
About an hour.
My voice cracks as I say it.
Just under.
My mouth is dry. I try to swallow the lump in my throat, but it won't go away. I even came home early to give us extra time. Time that was supposed to be just in case, not actually needed.
What are you going to do?
would know?
Me? I see. Let me think.
I just wait here at the library where she's bound to turn up eventually. I'm sure she's watching the clock as closely as I am. Wherever she is. On the other hand, I could go out and just look for her again. I can move faster than she can, and if she's running late, then the time saved by going to where she could the time saved by going to where she On the other hand, I could go out and look for her again. I can move faster than she can, and if she's running late, then the time saved by going to where she is could make all the difference.
Okay, here.
I look up at Juliet, hoping she has a solution.
Take my phone. Go try to find her. Make sure you can get back here in time. If she arrives before you find her, we'll call you.
Okay.
Juliet quickly shows me how to use the phone, then I pocket it, making sure it won't fall out. Her plan just combines both of mine. It's a good compromise, but it still comes down to luck. Because there's no way around that. Not every problem has a perfect solution. There's nothing else to say and less time to say it back. There's nothing else to say and less time to say it, so I hurry back outside without another word. I barely got my breath back from running all the way to the library, but I forced myself to run again. I had to cover as much ground as possible, as fast as possible. I check the Bell House, but she's not there. When I get to her apartment, it's just as I left it, same as the bus station. I turn around, about to start the trip back, when I spot someone waving at me from nearby.
Hey, miss. You okay? I saw you run by here a while ago.
I'm looking for someone. A friend who should have been here by now.
On one of the buses? You sure they weren't on the one that broke down?
The what?
Yeah, heard some other folks who were here talking about it. Guess it broke down on the way back and the replacement's taking forever. They were getting pissed because it was gonna make them late. Couldn't tell you which bus it was, but you could probably find out. Where were they coming from?
I don't know the name of the town. It's a few hours away.
Well, that doesn't exactly narrow it down, but it matches up, I think. The guys who are waiting were packed for a long trip, so it must be one of those distance lines.
Thanks.
I stumble as I turn back around, my legs shaking like jelly. There's no way that it isn't Aspen's bus. All the details line up so perfectly and terribly. My only hope is to wait here at the station in hopes that a replacement arrives in time. Mechanically, I dial Aspen's number over and over again, hanging up and redialing whenever her recorded voice starts to play. At some point, I stop trying. As the minutes tick down, I feel increasingly sick with the burning pressure of tears in my eyes. When I do finally hear the rumbling sound of an approaching vehicle, I can barely believe it. Lifting my face from my hands, I watch my heart in my throat as the bus turns the corner and pulls into the station. This has to be the bus, it has to be. I'm unable to move, I just watch as the line of passengers slowly disembarks. Unable to move, I just watch as the line of passengers slowly disembarks. My eye stays glued to the door until the line finally stops. Then a line of people, including the person who talked to me, begins to board. The buses take off a minute later without Aspen. I collapse back into the bench, barely repressing a sob. Why? Why is this happening? For the final few minutes, I stare at the phone, open to Aspen's info, along with her phone number. There's a picture of her sitting at the kitchen table. It's a little out of focus, but she's smiling. I look at the picture rather than the time. As minutes become seconds, then seconds become nothing. A full 24 hours have passed and Juliet never returned. Oh shit. Everything I was feeling melts into numbness. It seems like I should feel something, a chill or ache of some indication that it's over. I've been forgotten. Of course there isn't one. I've been forgotten a million times before, it just never mattered. Even though it doesn't feel real, just a few hours ago I was worrying over Aspen for entirely different reasons. I rise and slowly return to the library. I don't run, I don't look in the windows, I don't try calling. My sticky note is still on the front door when I get back, and I took it down, stuffing it in my pocket as I trudge inside. Juliet stands up from the desk as I walk in, alone. I can see her face shift as she realizes. The door slams shut behind me. No one else is stepping in.
Oh, Miho. I'm so sorry.
Poor baby.
Here's your phone. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
I set it down on the desk and then stand there, not sure what to do next.
Perhaps it's not exactly 24 hours. Perhaps there's some leeway and she'll still get here in time.
Yeah, maybe. There was a bus that broke down, I guess. It must be hers. Someone at the station told me.
For once, Juliet seems to be at a total loss for words. She just nods stiffly at my explanation. I sit down on one of the chairs near Juliet, standing at the floor. The alarm bells in my head as sit down on one of the chairs near Juliet, staring at the floor. The alarm bell in my head is mercifully silent. Faintly, it occurs to me that this must be what these called shock. We sit there until there's a noise outside the door, catching both me and Juliet's attention. Slowly, the library doors open and Aspen enters, looking worn out. Her hair is frazzled and looks like she's been running or crying, or both. She shuts the door gently behind her. Juliet and I both stand up from the desk at the same time.
Aspen, you're back.
I can't bring myself to say anything, only to stand there and wait. As the feelings of dread and anticipation return, I realize that I've held on to something. I've held on to some hope, after all.
Yes, I'm back. God, I know I'm late. It was ridiculous. Our bus broke down and the replacement didn't arrive for hours. We weren't even that far from Welly when it happened. Simply unbelievable.
Aspen looks up to adjust her glasses and hat, and holds up her phone with a smile.
I saw all the missed calls from you once I got back to the station, but it was so late, I thought it would just be easier to come straight here instead. So, sorry to keep you both waiting, Juliet.
Walking past Juliet, Aspen comes to where I'm standing, her eyes glued to the floor. She stops in front of me and slowly looks up. She was definitely crying.
And you must be Miho.
Fuck. God's sake. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Chapter 4, Matters of the Heart. It's twice now that I've lost someone dear to me. Though Aspen is still alive and I see her every day, her loss feels even more painful than Jong-Un's. It's been a few days since Aspen lost her memories of me. She's been here like usual every day since then. We both tried to pretend that nothing ever happened. But everyone, including Juliet, knows that I'll never be the same. Whenever Aspen and I talk, I can tell whenever I mention something she can't remember, it stings all over again. Even when she's sitting right beside me, Aspen seems further away than ever. I doubt she remembers what she said to me before leaving. She hasn't mentioned it at all, and so neither have I. Not needing to have that difficult conversation is a relief, but not nearly enough to make up for losing everything else. If I could pick up one or the others, if I could pick one or the other, I'd choose the conversation over Aspen forgetting me every day. I'm sitting in the kitchen in my usual spot, next to where Aspen sits at breakfast. My ears perk up with Juliet's approach. Although she can walk without making a sound, even better than I can, I developed a sort of a sixth sense for detecting her.
You're up early.
I don't look up from the cup of cold tea that my hands are wrapped around, though it's been at least an hour since I took a last sip.
I think it's later than you imagine. Just past 8.
Oops. I must have lost track of time.
I sat down here after closing the library for the day, just intending to collect my thoughts for a couple of minutes. I guess it turned out to be more than a couple. Taking a seat across from me, Juliet also has a cup of tea. Hers is still fresh and warm and steaming.
It's understandable. You surely have a lot on your mind. Anything you'd like to talk about?
You already know everything.
Not quite everything. How do you feel?
I stare into the mug, aware that Juliet's looking at me. For some reason, I don't have the strength to meet her eyes.
Sad. Even though I know I shouldn't be.
Oh heavens, why ever would you think that?
Because I knew this was gonna happen someday. Sooner or later. It just turned out to be sooner.
What do you mean?
Shrugging, I finally look up. Worry creases Juliet's face, and so I stare at the wall just behind me. Well, I stare at the wall just behind her. I don't want to see someone else feeling bad on my behalf right now.
I mean, it was always going to happen. Aspen was always going to forget me someday. There's no way I could see her every day for the rest of her life, right? That's the other thing, too. She's a human, so eventually she'll...
I trail off, not wanting to say the words out loud, to know that Juliet will get what I mean. Sure enough, she nods sagely.
She will.
Death used to be such a distant concept for me. Just a boogeyman to be afraid of, but not worry about too much on a daily basis. Now it's become all too real. In the case of Zhongying, now when it comes to Aspen, it's hard to not think about how that will be her fate too someday. Oh shit, this is probably after Miho realizes. Even if she hadn't forgotten me, and no matter what I might have said in response to her confession, the eventual end would be the same. Can't help but picture Juliet's own pain and anguish at Cosette's grave, even all these years after she passed away.
So if it was gonna happen anyway, then what's the point? Why bother? I'm just going to get hurt again and again. Someday, even you'll also...
Forever is just as difficult with someone else. Forever is just as difficult with someone else who's immortal. Maybe even harder. No matter how many years may pass, it still only takes one day for everything to be undone.
Oh, Miho.
She reaches across the table and lays her hand on top of mine, still clutching tightly to my drink. Her fingers are soft and cool. They look awkward against mine, like she doesn't know what to do with them. I don't know what to do with them either.
I wish I could tell you otherwise. But you're right that some kind of pain is inevitable when it comes to those we love. That's the trade-off for the joy they bring to us while they're with us. The pain exists because we had something to lose. Despite the heartache, I wouldn't trade my time with Cosette for anything.
It's different for me, though. Because I can lose the same person over and over. What about the next time Aspen forgets me? Or if there's a time after that? Maybe it's better to just...
I shake my head and cut myself off, because I know I really will start crying if I go much further. Although Aspen and I have already been rebuilding our friendship, part of me wonders if it's worth it. Do I really want to make myself go through all that again? I know the answer is yes, I'm already doing it, but it's tough to justify to myself. I sigh deeply. I want to unwrap my fingers from the cup. I sigh deeply. I unwrap my fingers from the cup, sliding my hands out from beneath Juliet's as well. I study her hand, still on the table. Despite her age, her skin remains perfect and unblemished. All her scars must be on the inside instead.
Thanks for listening to me. And sorry for being such a bummer. I'll be back to normal in a day or two.
There's no need to apologize. I can only imagine how you must feel. Take all the time that you need. You don't have to force yourself.
Yeah, I know. But thinking about it just makes me feel worse. Besides, Aspen and I are still friends. Or I guess, friends again. I can't change what happened, so I may as well just do the best I can now.
That's true. Still, don't ever hesitate if you need someone to talk to, or a shoulder to cry on.
Thanks. I do feel a bit better. I think I'm gonna call it a night, though.
Sleep well, Miho. I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm sure she can tell that I don't entirely mean it when I say I feel better. Still, she does me the courtesy of pretending.
Night.
And a backwards twist on the usual, I head upstairs to my room and leave Juliet behind in the kitchen. As I climb the stairs, I get a glimpse of her still seated in the dining room, at the dining table, across from the cup I forgot to put away. Somehow it feels weird to see her there alone. In my room, I wrap my blankets around myself and lie down. It's earlier than I usually go to bed, but late enough that it's still dark outside. I'm sure I'll be able to fall asleep. Although the day is ending for me, it's just begun for Juliet. I wonder what she'll do with it. Maybe she'll sit down at the table, sitting by herself. Maybe she's still down at the table, sitting by herself. Isn't that lonely? Then again, I guess she's probably used to it. I'm still new to this whole loneliness thing, but she's pretty much an expert by now. That's kinda sad when I think about it. As I'm lying there, I hear the sound of the front door opening and closing. Setting up, I look out the window to see Juliet standing near the porch. Something flats past my window, and I move closer to see a bat descend towards Juliet. At first I assume it's another one of her friends, the ones who hang in the corner, ever study or get fed in the kitchen. To my shock, the bat changes form, soon becoming a tall man.
Another vampire.
Oh shit. It's too dark to see it's too dark and far away for me to guess. For me to see or hear anything clearly. I can tell they're having a conversation. I'm tempted to open my window, but I can't, but I'm sure the noise would catch their attention. The two of them only talk for a couple minutes, then the other vampire turns back into a bat. I quickly lie down and pretend to be asleep as she passes by just a couple seconds later. When I sit back up and peer outside again, Juliet's nowhere to be seen. Before long I start to get tired and crawl under the covers for real. But I listen to the sound of the front door again, I never hear it, and eventually I fall asleep. Oh shit. Juliet's got a secret friend we hadn't found out about. Even though things have changed so much, the morning routine is more or less the same. Three of us chit-chat about our lives and mundane things until we finish eating. After pushing away her empty plate, Aspen leans in.
So, Miho, there's something I've been thinking about. And I understand if this is something you wouldn't even want to consider, but have you ever thought about finding a way to stop your magic?
Juliet also turns to look at me, putting me on the spot.
Not that I can remember. That's like asking if you've thought about finding a way to stop your nose from working.
I see. I thought that might be the case.
I'm not sure if I've ever heard of such a thing either.
I was just thinking about the other day and about how dreadful it all was to go through. Of course, I don't want to speak for Miho. I know it's much more complicated than just that. But I thought I might bring up the idea, at least.
You've got a point. Not having to worry about people forgetting me would be a huge relief.
Right. I thought you might agree.
Look at Juliet, expecting her to give an opinion, but she doesn't offer one. It's true that life would be a lot easier if my magic, well, after. This life would be easier, but the life I used to lead, I couldn't have survived without it.
Well, it's purely hypothetical right now anyway. For all we know, it might be impossible. So no need to think about it too much.
It's worth thinking about, though.
The only two people who actually remember me are in this room right now. All the other people I've met here in Welly, I couldn't really call them my friends. I don't actually have like spending time with them. Every time we see each other is the first time as far as they're concerned. Maybe that wasn't so bad when I was still on the fence about whether I'd want to stay in town or not. But now that I've been here a while, long enough to build something worth missing, I wish I could make those connections into something more secure. Even if there's nothing I can do about my magic, I can at least try to figure out a way to maintain friendships with others too, not just Aspen and Juliet.
It couldn't hurt to find out, right? It's not like I have to go through with it or anything if I don't want to.
Exactly. Simply being informed is never a bad idea.
So, does that mean you have an idea?
Well, not quite. But I'd be happy to start doing some research on the topic. If we're going to find anything, it's likely to be in a book. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's reading.
Good luck with that. Let me know what I can do to help.
I'd be glad to lend a hand as well. Perhaps I could find someone who'd be knowledgeable about Gumiho. Myth and folklore are often at odds with reality, so it can be difficult to discern what's true and what isn't.
Someone who'd know about Gumiho, huh?
One person comes to mind, but I'm not sure how willing she'd be to help. I still haven't mentioned the other Gumiho to Silver and Juliet. In my head, I've started calling her Silver. It just feels wrong somehow. If someone had told other people when I was around, I would have been furious with them. It would have made hiding and stealing a whole lot harder too. So as a fellow Gumiho, I kept Silver's existence a secret from everyone else so far. For all I know, there could be more than just Silver. There could be a whole community of Gumiho here in Wellington, and I have no idea. I don't think that's the case though. Besides, Silver seems unhappy enough with one intruder in her territory as it is. Maybe there's something else I can ask her. I don't know when or where, but somehow I know that I haven't seen the last of her. For now, I just sit back and listen as Aspen and Juliet discuss various books and theories to start with. I feel like I should be more involved. It's my magic after all, but this is one area where I can't really contribute. I can't stay out of it forever and let them take care of me again, though. I have to try something on my own too. I can't just refuse to participate in my own future. As it gets closer to time for Aspen to leave, Juliet checks the clock and then stands up.
Off to bed?
Not yet, actually. Would you mind staying just a moment longer, Aspen? I have something I'd like to give Miho. It's somewhat related to what we were just talking about.
Oh, no, I don't mind.
For me? What is it?
You'll see. I'll be right back.
Disappearing upstairs, I hear Juliet enter her study for a moment before returning to a small, nicely wrapped box. Isn't this where Miho gets a phone?
There's no particular occasion, but still, I felt like wrapping it.
Juliet hands me the package, which I take carefully. It's not heavy, but it's not light either. I turn it over and over, examining. I've never had a gift before. Clearing her throat. Aspen seems a bit impatient.
Don't just keep us in suspense.
Okay.
I tear off the paper that Juliet so beautifully wrapped the package in, revealing...
Oh. Wow.
It's a phone. One that I recognize. Yeah, it is.
It's the same as Aspen's.
What a coincidence, right?
I consulted Aspen to make sure I got the same one. I thought it would be best if she can help show you how to use it. I'm a little behind the times on things like devices.
Boomer. As gently as I can, I open the box and take out the phone itself. It's sleek and shiny and cold to the touch. I hold it in both hands to make sure I don't drop it.
Thank you. Really. This is the nicest thing I've ever owned.
Think nothing of it. As you have more loved ones and responsibilities, it's important that you be able to stay in touch. In fact, that was what gave me the idea in the first place. Like Aspen, I'd also been thinking about your magic and the ways that it might work. So I wonder, would seeing someone in a video call serve to refresh someone's memory of you? Or is it necessary to see each other in person?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I can't believe I never thought to ask that before.
Neither Aspen nor I would want to gamble our memories of Miho in case it turns out not to work. So we need to find someone else to participate in our little experiment.
Lena.
With that in mind, I'm not sure who to ask. It's a harmless trial, but still
Someone willing to try something weird without hesitation.
Aspen does that. I stare at the device in my hand. It's something so small and really solves so many of my problems. It wouldn't be a perfect solution, but it'd be a lot better than nothing if this works. Even if not, I won't let that change my earlier decision to find some way to be remembered by people I've met. Just like researching my magic, I can't leave everything to someone else or hope for an easy way out.
Alright, Lena says she's willing to give it a go. I told her I'd explain more when I saw her. Usually you'd think those would happen in the other order, but this is Lena we're talking about.
Miho, would you like to come down to the Bell House to see her with me now?
Sure. As long as Juliet doesn't mind me leaving the library.
By all means. I'm eager to see if this works as well.
Yeah.
So it's settled then. Shall we be off, Miho?
Alright, so I'll skip this bit because we've already seen it on the other route. Blah blah. Hand to
Well
agree
then.
with it.
See you later, Miho.
Yeah. Bye, Aspen.
Aspen walks inside the Bell House, so I wave goodbye, then I head off. Blah blah. Calling with our girl. Chatting about it. Going to see
That's
Lena.
great news. This will be such a big help in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah, and she remembers us. Woo.
Yeah, definitely.
I know she and I are both thinking the same thing. If only we tried this sooner. We could have talked to each other that morning before Aspen got on the bus. Then everything would have been fine. As it is, this huge life-changing moment is bittersweet. Still, it really is a big relief that my future just got a whole lot easier. After saying goodbye to Aspen and Lena, I start walking back home as I go. I pull out my new phone and slowly tap through the screens.
Let's see. I think it was here.
I just find my way to my messages and then find Juliet. I just start walking in order to concentrate enough to write out a quick note. It worked. Since Juliet's the one who got me the phone, it seems fitting to let her know by using it too. Although Juliet doesn't reply to my text, when I get back to the library, she's waiting for me with a big smile on her face.
Miho, welcome back. I saw your message, but thought I would wait to congratulate you in person.
Thanks. I'm still processing it myself, you know.
I grab one of the spare chairs from close by and then join her behind the desk, taking a seat.
Even though it's such a big deal for me, it was pretty normal for everyone else. Or at least, it should have been.
I slide the phone out of my pocket and hold it in my hand carefully, staring at the polished glass screen.
That doesn't make it any less special. Change doesn't happen all at once. You should enjoy these little moments along the way.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's thinking about Aspen too, but bringing that up would just be bringing down the mood. Instead, I try to do what Juliet suggests. I let myself focus on the good things this means from now on.
Yeah, you're right.
The little piece of technology that I'm holding is the first step to a new world of possibilities.
No more being forgotten. At least, by the people that matter.
As long as they have a phone too. At least I know enough about phones and how unreliable they can be to know it isn't a perfect solution.
I still want to know more about my magic and how it works, though. I'm not sure I want to just get rid of it, like Aspen suggested.
I understand. As a human, I think it's hard for her to grasp what that would be like. There's certainly merit to learning about it, though, as you say.
It's kind of funny that now machines can do a lot of stuff that only magic could do before. Like, flying. I used to be so jealous of Fabled who could fly.
I know quite what you mean. Why, sometimes I feel as if the rest of the world has passed me by with some of its changes.
Really? I don't think so. I mean, you know how to use a phone and a computer and all those things. Seems like you're keeping up to me.
Perhaps. I still prefer to write something by hand, or have a conversation face to face when possible, though. Maybe that's just what it is to get old.
You're not getting old. At least, I don't think so. I don't feel old, and we've been alive for almost the same amount of time.
I certainly do feel younger when you're around too. You remind me to enjoy the moment more often.
Aw.
That's what I'm here for. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's not thinking about the future.
Making Juliet laugh makes me smile, because it's something she doesn't do very often. When it happens, it's like a rare treat. Without Juliet, none of the good things in my life would be possible. She's the one who gave me a place to stay, a way to take care of myself, and now she's even giving me a way to be remembered. All of that for free too. I know she says I don't owe her anything. The least I can do is try to make her smile when possible, even if it doesn't feel like it's enough. It's a start though, as she's always fond of saying, just like the phone as it starts to. Juliet laughs turns into a yawn, although she tries to hide it with the back of her hand, and I leap up from where I've been sitting.
I can take over from here, so you can go to bed. Thanks for covering for me while I was out.
It was my pleasure. It's nice to be behind the counter again every once in a while, and to see our guest in person.
Now that I think about it, she does sleep for the busiest hours every day, so she never really gets to see anyone enjoying this place she's worked so hard to put together.
Do you know most of them?
I recognize many, but it would be a stretch to say I know them. Their names, perhaps, or even their reading habits, but not much beyond that.
That's too bad. I'll bet most people don't know how hard you work on the library, even though they come here all the time.
Oh, that's all right. I don't need the recognition, so long as the library itself is appreciated. Besides, you work harder for it than I do nowadays.
I guess that's true. But only so you can help people in other ways. Besides, you did my job for way longer than I have.
I've only been here for a fraction of the time she has, but even I can remember some of our regulars. Though they occasionally ask about Juliet, it seems like they think of her more like a public service than a person. I can't pretend I don't understand why. It's like Juliet has two lives. The one she leads at night by herself, and the one that she briefly shares with everyone else each day. And both of those are devoted to the people of Wellington. She rises, gazing around the room. It's still early, although it's still early enough that there aren't too many patrons around, but a handful are browsing or reading. Watching her look around, I can see a kind of sadness in her eyes, like when she told me about Cosette, or talked to me about Aspen. It's not too different to how she normally looks, but I spend enough time with her that I can tell the difference. It instantly tempers some of her excitement from the new phone.
What's wrong?
Her focus snaps to me and her face clears like I wasn't supposed to notice that.
Nothing. I was simply reminiscing a little. I do feel rather tired, though. Good night, Mio.
God damn it, Juliet. With her trademark smell, she turns and starts to stride past me on her way up to our room. As she passes by, I clear my throat.
Hey,
Juliet pauses.
are you sure you're okay?
I look up, but she's just facing forward, eyes locked on the stairs. After a moment of hesitation, she starts walking again.
Yes. Good night, Mio.
God damn it, Juliet. I don't try to stop her a second time, but I watch as she heads down the hall and then up the stairs. Nobody else seems to pay much attention. Just because we said that we'd be more open from now on doesn't mean that she has to tell me everything. She still has plenty of secrets, that's for sure. I wish she'd let me try to help her though, even if it's just listening. We can go from laughing to frowning in just a few seconds. I can't pretend that I don't relate. I wonder if one of those feelings is more honest than the others. If so, I can probably guess which one. Whatever it is that has her down, it's not something I can worry about too much right now. I'll be here if she needs, of course, but it's up to her to do that. For now, I just keep helping the only way I know how. Early in the morning, sack of returns and requests. I get to work. With that, we shall leave the stream here for today. Writing visual novels always makes time feel like it's going way slower. Mainly because I have to actually like focus on shit. It's crazy. My per zoomer attention span can't handle it. But I'm exhausted from all the socializing and all the talking I've done today. I'll see you. I might stream during the week. If I get all this stuff done for the dating sim, so I can start writing it again. But if not, I should see you next week. Bye.